If the Indiana Hoosiers lose at home to Wisconsin tonight, is this it for Mike Woodson?
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you making this your first listen each and every day. And shout out to the everydayers, those of you that come back day after day after day. You are the reason that we are here. So thank you so much. You can become an everydayer. Like the video, hit subscribe. It's free. It's easy. Helps us grow, and then you become one of our loyal listeners and watchers. Whether you're on YouTube or on the audio version, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Be sure you turn on notifications wherever you get your podcast because we are free wherever you get your podcast. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Indiana hosting Wisconsin tonight inside of Assembly Hall. The women also playing tonight. They're on the road at Northwestern. We'll have coverage and previewing that tonight as well. Keys to the game for the Indiana men. And the question that I pose to you, as a season is coming to a close, we've got just a few games left, and a season that's just been a disaster for this Indiana squad. Our Hoosiers are 14-13 overall, 6-10 in conference play. Haven't won on the road, can't defend home court, can't win in the conference, everything going bad. You're not going to make the NCAA tournament. The NIT tournament wouldn't make any sense for this team to accept a bid. It just doesn't work. And this has been a bad season. But the question is that I'm really considering here, and I'm really debating it. I think there's a possibility here. If we lose this game tonight, Indiana hosting Wisconsin, a good Wisconsin team, but a Wisconsin team that's been kind of shaky down the stretch. If we lose this game tonight at home, once again, will Indiana fire Mike Woodson tonight? Will they pull the Ohio State? Will they pull all these other programs that do this? And will they fire a coach in the season? It's not really in the middle of the season anymore. This is near the end of the season. But would they fire Mike Woodson for not winning this game tonight? I think there's a possibility. I do. I think there's a possibility depending on how the game looks, how the team plays, how the fans react. We heard them last time we were here at Assembly Hall. They got booed off the floor. Booed off the floor at half. The fans are upset. You are upset. You're over it. You're done. You're tired of it. And from what I see on YouTube and on social media and everywhere else, I would put it on 75-80% of the Hoosier faithful are ready to move on. Done. Get him out of here. Let's see what else we can find. I think most of you are in that boat, and understandably so, which is why I think there is some noise on the back end for Mike Woodson to no longer be the head coach. But I will say this, from things that I'm being told and things that I hear, I think he does have some support from some pretty big names. I think he's got some backers. I think he's got the money part on his side, the fact that Indiana would owe him a pretty penny if they decide to get rid of him. But this game tonight is an opportunity. This game tonight's an opportunity to get the only big win of the year. You have none. You have none. No big wins this year at all whatsoever. And this Wisconsin team was a top 25 team pretty much all year long. They were a top, 15 team last time we played them. And then they went on a 4-game losing streak that included Michigan and Rutgers. Yikes. But since then, they've beaten Ohio State. They lost to Iowa on the road, and they've beaten Maryland 74-70. So their end of the schedule is brutal. They're going through a similar stretch that we went through at Indiana, home for Illinois, home for Rutgers, and at number 2, Purdue. So they're going to be a tournament team. They are still trying to figure out what seed line they're going to be in the NCAA tournament. but this is still a good Wisconsin team. It's a team that, look, we're not favored to beat. We're not predicted to beat. We're not supposed to beat. But I don't even know if it's fully about win or lose in this scenario. I think it definitely plays into it because that's what everybody's after is the win. But I think it's about how it looks. Does this team come out and continue to fight? Does this team come out and continue to play and show effort and show a little love to the fans that show up in the greatest arena in the country? Do they show up and give them something to cheer for and to watch for? Or have they fully cashed it in on the 2023 and 2024 season? How do they react to Mike Woodson and the head coach and the coaching staff? Because, look, boosters watch that. Administration watches that. And the way they react to the coach during a game like this, where there's a chance you're going to get blown out here, the way they respond when he tries to coach them or teach them or tell them what to do, they take notice of that. And they're going to be watching Mike Woodson too. Is he coaching? Is he doing anything? Is he changing anything up? Is he trying to make this team better and maybe even plan for the future by playing different rotations, different guys, different minutes, and different sets? All of those things are on the line tonight. All of those things are going to be watched by a massive group of people, not just you and I, the fans, but the decision makers around this campus, around this university, and around this basketball program. And all those things matter. And I think if you let Wisconsin come in here and beat you by 30 points and it's just a terrible, poor effort and guys are giving up, Woodson looks defeated, has terrible comments post-game again, yeah, I think there's a possibility he loses his job. Absolutely. And he better show up and coach tonight. These guys better show up and play tonight. Do I think we lose by 30? No. Do I feel confident about Indiana winning? Not really. But when's the last time we felt really confident about it, right? I mean, I felt good about going into some of these games, and I've gotten burned so many times that I'm starting to lose a little bit of hope here. And look, again, this is a good Wisconsin team. I know they've struggled as of late, but this is still a good Wisconsin team. So let's keep an eye on that. And I think that there is a possibility. I think there's a chance that if Indiana loses and they lose in the wrong way tonight, Mike Woodson could be out as the Indiana head coach. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, we'll take a look at keys to the game. How does Indiana avoid all of that I just talked about? How do they move on from that? How do they try and beat this Wisconsin team? We'll have all that coming up for you on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Indiana, Wisconsin tonight. Look, if you've got confidence in us, the Indiana Hoosiers, put $5 on it, and if they win, you're going to win $150 instantly, plus all the extra stuff you're going to win because Indiana's a massive underdog. But if you don't have any confidence in us, put $5 on Wisconsin. Then if they win, boom, you got $150 to watch your team lose. Not too bad, right? Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. Shout out to the everydayers. You're the reason we're here, coming back each and every day to watch the videos, listen to the audio. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Indiana hosting Wisconsin tonight inside of Assembly Hall. And man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because we are on a pretty big skid right now. 4-game losing skid are the Indiana Hoosiers, and there's just not a whole lot to look up to, right? There's not a whole lot to look forward to with this game against Wisconsin at home. You then go on the road to Maryland. You then go on the road to Minnesota, and then come home for a Michigan State team who, I'm sure you saw this, just got beat over the weekend on a buzzer beater by Ohio State, a team that just fired their head coach, and hey, all of a sudden, they're starting to play really well, starting to play with a little fire, starting to play with a little bit of urgency. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. So that's what Indiana's got coming down the stretch, coming down the pipe. But got to see if you can hang with Wisconsin tonight. Favored by 4.5 on the road at Indiana. I would probably take that a little bit more, to be completely honest with you, just given how we've played so far down this stretch, man. But you've got Malik Reneau, who's coming off of a really good performance the other night against Penn State. Didn't really get much help, but man, he had 27 points. 27 points for Malik, and that's where Indiana's got to go. We've talked about this all year long. You've got to use Kel'el Ware and Malik Reneau. You've got to use your big guys. Pick and roll is our friend. Pick and roll is our friend. Get it in the hands of Trey Galloway. Let him go to work. Let him get into the paint, because he's the only one that has the guts to get in there in the lane and make a play sometimes and throw it up for Kel'el Ware and Malik Reneau. You can't guard them both. It's almost impossible. One's 7 foot and the other one's pretty much 7 feet. Throw it up to them and let them go after it. And then once you start to do that, the defense is already collapsed on this team because we can't shoot three-pointers. So they're already in there. And once you get in there, boom, kick it out. Then you've got open threes. I think Mackenzie and Bako continue to feed him the basketball. Why? Couple of reasons. One, you want him to start making some here down the stretch. And two, I think when you start looking at bigger picture here, you don't want him to leave. You don't want him to go anywhere. And we have to have serious conversations right now as we approach the end of February, get into early March. We have to start having these types of conversations of who is going to be leaving this Indiana team, because somebody's going to leave, probably multiple somebodies. And you don't want it to be your 5-star freshman McDonald's All-American Mackenzie Mbako. You have to find a way to show him he is a crucial piece to this team. He's a crucial piece of this offense moving forward. You have talent coming in with Liam McNeely. Derek Queen's not coming here. He committed elsewhere. But you have guys coming in that can make this team better. And you have to convince Mackenzie Mbako that he needs to be here, because I promise you, there are other teams and other coaches that would take him in a heartbeat. And there's a good chance they would make him better than what has happened in Indiana right now. I'm not saying we can't make him good and can't make him better, but we have not done him any favors so far in his first year in Bloomington. So we've got to work him into the offense even more. I know he shoots a lot. I know he does. But we've got to get him the basketball. And I think he's had the aggressiveness as of late, even with just the basketball in his hands. And that's something really positive to see. Is his defense where it needs to be? No, not necessarily, but it has gotten better. So that's what I'm saying. We've got to find a way to show him, hey, you need to be here. Come back next year. Look what we did for you down the stretch. We want to do that for you all next season. That's what the Hoosiers have to start doing in this game tonight against Wisconsin. You also start looking at what Wisconsin does as a team. They're just gritty, man. They're just, it's Wisconsin basketball. It's not sexy. It's not pretty by any means, but they get the job done. They average 74 points a game. They also shoot 46% as a team, 76% from the line, and 34% from downtown. So not a great three-point shooting team, but I know a team that can make them look pretty good. And then if you foul them, look, they're going to make their shots. I mean, they're going to make free throws. They've got 4 or 5 guys averaging over 80% from the free throw line this season. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous if you ask me. And so that means we have to defend without fouling. And I don't know if we're capable of that, because how many times this year have we had Kel'el Ware and Malik Reneau and Trey Galloway all in serious foul trouble? I mean, those guys foul out all the time. Malik Reneau fouls out constantly. He has to learn and grow on that. He's got to find a way to defend and be physical without being overly physical, too physical, and getting the whistle. And you have to do that tonight. And I think this is more on the guards having to defend without fouling here tonight as well. Trey Galloway, and whether it be Gabe Cupps or CJ Gunn or Anthony Leal, there needs to be some different rotation there. Play different sets of guys in that situation, but they have to find a way to not foul, because that's where Wisconsin's going to beat you. They're going to beat you at the free throw line. And we go back to what happened the last time these two teams played. Remember, Wisconsin won 91-79, and we were in this game because the first half was not pretty. You were down by 13 at the half. We made a little push to come out of that second half. Malik Reneau had 28 points last time these two teams played. That was his big-time game. You got 17 from Mbako, but remember, that's when Kel'el Ware did not play. Ware didn't play in that game. He was hurt. So now you've got them both back. Now you've got them both back, and you have a chance to maybe use that to your advantage. And you also were starting Gabe Cupps in there. You started Peyton Sparks in there. Like, you were not 100%. Shoot, Xavier Johnson was coming off the bench at that time because he had not gotten hurt again yet. You're still not 100% healthy, but your two best players are here. Your two best players are back, and I think you got to use them tonight. If you do that, you're going to be in good shape. You're going to be in a good spot to do something against Wisconsin. And you're at home, man. I know it hasn't meant anything this year. I know it has not done you any favors, but the fans have showed up. The students have shown up. The passion has been there. We have supported this team all season long. It's time for Indiana to give us a good performance at home, because the last time we won a game at home was the Iowa game, and that was weeks ago. Before that, it was the Minnesota game. You've got to find ways to win games at home, man, because winning on the road's tough as it is. Tough enough. Got to win your games at home. Big chance to do that. This would be a quad one win. Not that we're looking at tournament resumes or anything, but this would be a big-time win. And again, I think if it goes south, I think if it all goes bad tonight, there's some serious conversations that are going to be had about the future of Mike Woodson and the future of this Indiana basketball program. Hoosiers hosting the Badgers tonight inside of Assembly Hall. Well, coming up, final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. The ladies are in action tonight, both of them playing at the exact same time. Which game are you going to be watching? We'll talk about the Indiana Lady Hoosiers as they travel to a below average Northwestern team. We'll kind of look at what the Hoosiers got to do, take a look at women's bracketology as well, give you an update on where the Hoosiers stand there as well. All that coming up in the final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. Look, Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Look, some of my favorite parts of the Game Time app, I've used it literally multiple times. Last-minute tickets, you have zone deals, so sometimes there's different areas in the arena or in the venue that have some better prices, some deals going on. Easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event. I've used it for sports. I've actually used it for a comedy show as well. So it's got all sorts of options on the Game Time app. Views from all the seats in the venue, plus the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and even job loss protection is what makes the Game Time app the go-to ticketing spot. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And you can buy tickets in seconds with literally just 2 taps. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that is the Game Time app using the code LOCKEDON, and they're going to give you $20 off of your first ticket purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hey, we continue to grow towards 2,000 subscribers. We are at 1,839. Yes, we have grown so much since I took over here, and I thank you all so much for that. And really, it's y'all, the everydayers, the ones that come back each and every day, make this in your daily routine, whether you're watching and listening to us in the car, in the gym, in the bed, I don't care, in the shower if you want to. I just appreciate you being here and making this your first listen each and every day. While we talked a lot about the men who are hosting Wisconsin tonight, the Lady Hoosiers are actually in action this evening as well. They are on the road at Northwestern. And while this should not be A massive challenge for us was Northwestern 8-19. Sorry, that was not very clear. 8-19 on the season and just 3-13 in conference play. Our Lady Hoosiers are 22-4 with 13-3 in conference play. Last game was that big win over Iowa and Caitlin Clark. Look, this game is not anything to sweat over, I don't think. I mean, Northwestern's on a 5-game losing streak. Then they had a win over Wisconsin before that. Then another 5-game losing streak. So should not be any concern. Last time we played this team, it was 100-59 when we played them here in Bloomington. So shouldn't be anything too crazy. I look for Indiana to go in here, get a clean win. That's the biggest thing, I think, tonight for the Lady Hoosiers. Just stay healthy, right? Stay healthy. No injuries, no Scalia, no Holmes. Nobody get hurt in this game. Let's go in, take care of business. You are on the road, so, you never know. With everybody talks about depth perception and, the weather and all that type of thing, and it does impact the game, sure, but you're not going up against a squad that's going to punch you in the mouth for 4 quarters. So I think we're fine here. Not overly concerned about Indiana on the road. And it's crazy, the regular season coming down to it. At Northwestern tonight, and then home versus Maryland on, next week? It looks like early next week. So that's it. Then you've got the Big Ten tournament. Then you've got the NCAA tournament. And speaking of all that, I want to look at those and give you some updates on that here while we are talking about the Lady Hoosiers. As we look at the Big Ten standings on the women's side of things, Indiana and Iowa, both 2 games back of the Ohio State Buckeyes. So credit to Ohio State. They're going to win the conference in the regular season. Shout out to them. But, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's fine. You'll be the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. The really big thing is who's going to come in second, because we and Iowa are both in the same spot, locked at number 2 with 2 games back of Ohio State. And if you remember, there is no tiebreaker. Both of these teams beat each other. And you look at what Iowa has down the stretch, and their final 2 games, I'm pulling up their schedule for you right now, at Minnesota, and then, you know who they play? They host Ohio State in the final game of the regular season. So it could get a little dicey down the stretch, and I think Indiana's got a good chance to be that 2 seed, because even with that being at home, look, that's a really good Ohio State team. I would pick them to beat Iowa right now. Neutral floor for sure. Being at Iowa may be a little bit tougher, but I think that's going to be a really good game. Excited for that one. So I think Indiana, we're going to end up as a 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. And then you look at the big tournament, right? You look at the big time tournament, the NCAA tournament. Big Ten currently getting 7 teams in right now, which is pretty good considering I would say the drop-off after Ohio State, Indiana, and Iowa. I think there is a drop-off there, but with us getting 7 in, that's pretty impressive for the Big Ten. That includes Michigan being a last 4 bye, Maryland being a last 4 in, and Penn State being on the next 4 out. Indiana, right now in the latest NCAA tournament bracketology, we've been bouncing around. They keep having us around a 4 seed, 5 seed. I just think we're higher than that. I really, really do. And right now they've got us as a 4 seed in our regional, which would be against Fairfield, the 13th seed, and then the winner of Syracuse and Columbia. Unfortunately, that is the South Carolina part of the bracket. And I really hope that's not the case. I really don't want to mess with South Carolina right now, because that's just a good team. They're the #1 overall team by far. And I just don't want to have to mess with them in the Sweet 16 to get to the Elite 8 and try to get to the Final 4. I don't want to go through them unless I absolutely have to. I'd rather somebody else take care of that cat and then we deal with anybody else. But I think a 4 seed is good. I think if we make a run in the Big Ten tournament, I think we can be higher than that. I think we're a 3 seed. I think we're good enough to be a 2 seed. I really do. I think we're just a little underrated, and we've had a couple of losses that probably weren't great for us. A couple of questionable head-scratching losses, if you will. But overall, I think we're better than a 4 seed. I wouldn't complain with that 4 seed. The loss at Illinois definitely hurt us. That hurt for sure. But if you win out, make a run in the Big Ten tournament, hopefully get to the championship game and maybe win the Big Ten tournament. I think that would give the Lady Hoosiers a really good opportunity to have everything in front of them, hold their own destiny, right? And with Mackenzie Holmes playing the way that she is, I mean, look, it's hard to slow down a 21-point-a-game scorer in women's basketball. She's a stud, and she doesn't shoot. She does it all inside. She does the dirty work and gets it done in there. So a shout out to her. Staying healthy down the stretch is what we want this Indiana team to do. And if they can do that, I think the Lady Hoosiers are going to be just fine. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you making this your first listen each and every day. Remember, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. We'll have a reaction episode going up tomorrow for both the men and the women, all in one video, all in one episode. So be sure you tune into that. Turn on notifications wherever you get your podcast. And until next time, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.